Hi besties, I'm Tia and welcome back to my channel. How are we in mid-June already? Like literally, how? I know I said this on my reading roundup, but like the year is going so quick, and what better way than to do a mid-year book tag? I saw this on Larry's channel and she did this recently, so she put all the questions in the description box, so I thought I would do it. We're in a new setting today, so I'm actually sitting on the sofa, which I obviously do in my vlogs, but for my actual videos, but I just wanted to be comfy, do you know what I mean? Without further ado, let's get into it. I've got my iPad here, so I've got my Goodreads just so I can see what books we've read this year and take it from there. Best book you've read so far in 2026. Right, this is so hard, but I actually, just even thinking about it, I think it has to be Dark Fae. I recently started the Ruthless Boys Zodiac. I'm on book 2. I've got 35 minutes left, so I will finish that later on. But I think Dark Fate is just a 6-star read, and dare I say it, but I actually prefer it over Zodiac Academy. Like I do prefer it. I just think it's bloody brilliant.
And I think Ruthless Boys is so funny compared to Zodiac Academy. Zodiac Academy has like the funny bits, but Ruthless Boys is overall making me die with laughter. And I think obviously there's going to be some deeper, heavier like chapters and stuff in the later books, but I think for now, like, the characters are just so funny. I think it might be like a god tier 6-star read series for me. Worst book you've read so far in 2026. Okay, wow, this is hard because I have actually learned in probably like this year and sort of towards the end of last year how to DNF a book. Like, I haven't DNF'd a lot of physical books that I've read. I have only DNF'd one, I think, but I have DNF'd quite a few like reads, and I'm not afraid to DNF an arc now. I think whereas before I was like, oh, I sort of need to finish it, but I'm like, why put myself through something if I'm not enjoying it? Because I am gonna say, like, I'm not gonna count DNFs because obviously I haven't finished the book, so I'm just gonna have to go with like one of my low rated ones that I remember not enjoying. Because if I was to choose like DNF ones, I could think of a few off the top of my head that I read at least half of, but we're gonna make it fair. Okay, I think I'm going to go with Haid by Anastasia White, and I have read a few of Anastasia White and I absolutely loved them. But this one, for me, just didn't hit. Like, it's I suppose sort of like friends to lovers type thing, but it's also like his best friend's sister as well. And there's like an accidental pregnancy, which is like the premise of the book. And he's dealing with a lot of grief from his best friend, and it goes from there. But the way it was written just wasn't very good in my opinion. But the FMC was like almost very childish and whiny, as if like she didn't get her way. She was like, oh, like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's the vibe it was giving off, and I just didn't enjoy it. It wasn't like terrible. I don't think I rated it very low. I think it was like a 2.5 star maybe. So it wasn't like the lowest. I have had like 1-star like books last year, but that's probably like off the top of my head one of the worst. Actually, that and Bad Bunny by Lexi Davis. That one was like a rabbit shifter and stuff. And to start with, I was enjoying myself, but it became weird and I didn't like it. I don't know, it was just really weird and it just become a bit like cringy. I liked the ending because it was all like tied up, but the middle bit was just, yeah, it weren't for me. Best sequel you've read so far in 2026. Okay, so I'm going to go with like sequel as in like a series sequel, not like an interconnected standalone type sequel. We're going to go with like full-on series. I think I'm going to go with Redeeming Six. I know like it's about different couples, but I feel like you do have to actually read the whole series in order, and it's like technically like the duet part of Joey and Aoife's story. This book broke me, healed me, like put me back together again 10 times over. And although it was so much heartbreak, there was so much healing there as well. And I know that everyone's worried about it obviously becoming a TV show, and I'm really hoping that they still keep the same themes. I understand they're a bit heavy, but that is the premise of the book. Like, it shows that real side of things, and you don't see that often in books. Sorry, my hair was annoying me. You don't see that often, and I know that as hard as that is to read about, like, that is some people's real life, and I just love the world. Like, I love all of the characters. I still have Release Intend to Go, which I'm like low-key kind of putting off, but I am obviously going to read it. Worst sequel you've read so far in 2026. Okay. Do you know what? I don't think I've read, because I've not read many like sequels. Like I said, I'm not counting Interconnected Standalones. I'm reading books that you have to read the previous books to be able to understand. Let me just take a little sippy, sippy, sip. So yeah, I'm only counting books that you have to have read the rest of them to be able to understand them. Okay. Like I said, I haven't read many like sequels, like continuations of books, especially ones that like I've not enjoyed. So like it is a little bit hard. So I think I have to just pick the worst out of the ones that I have read. So I think I still rated this like a 3.5, or yeah, I think 3.5 I rated this. Indecent Obsession by C.S. Berry. I love C.S. Berry's, like she writes the best why chooses. But because they're between 500 and 600 pages and it's like 95% smart, basically, you have to be like in the mood for it. And this one follows Sarah and her 3 brothers' best friends, and also another guy that has come into that as well. And I think it was good, but there was too much smart. Like, I did find myself skimming and skipping past a bit of the sex scenes because at the time that I just wasn't in the mood, and there was just so much of it. My light has just died. Guys, so that's absolutely fun. So now we've got like terrible lighting. Sorry guys, we're just gonna have to deal with this light now. I know that it's like absolutely awful. I might try and turn you if I can to that's a little bit better because like facing the light. Maybe I'll open the blinds actually a little bit. Okay, that might be like a little bit better, but we're just gonna have to work with what we've got, guys. Anyway, like I was saying, it was just a little bit too much at the time. Like I said, I enjoyed it. It was a 3.5 star. But out of like the sequels I've read, that would be probably like the worst one if I had to pick. New release you haven't read yet but want to. Okay, there's so many. The first one that comes into my head though is Daggermouth. I know it's not like super soon new release. It came out like a couple of months ago. But that is probably one of my anticipated. Like I said, like there's so many, like especially Starside by Alex Gaster as well. Like that is one highly rated. And I've heard Daggermouth is like very like feminine rage, and Starside is a lot of like yearning. So I'm excited for both of those, and I'm hoping that I can get to those soon. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Okay, let me think because I can't actually remember what's coming out. Okay, probably Silver Sweet by Krista and Becca Ritchie, who wrote like the Addicted like Callaway series, Callaway Sisters series. I read Burn Bright last year and I absolutely loved that, and it's like the Coble siblings, and I cannot wait for Silver Sweet. That comes out 4th of August, I think. I'm really excited for that. And also Fallen Rook, which comes out at the end of September, I want to say, by LJ Shen. I love LJ Shen, like all about author for me. Anything she writes, I'm going to eat it up. I still haven't read, sorry, there's like someone out the window. I still haven't read Twisted Porn, but I am going to get to that soon. I will 100% get to that by September. But I'm excited for Luke's story and also for like an MM romance as well. And it's like a forecast audio, and I cannot wait for that. Like, I know that I'm going to love it. Biggest surprise of the year. Okay, let me have a look. Are we talking like good surprise or bad surprise? I'm going to take it as a good surprise though. Okay, I'm going to go a little rogue this one. I'm going to say God of War by Rena Ken, actually. I love this whole series. I love the Legacy of God series. But I think this was actually a surprise because I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I did. I think it is like my second highly rated one. Like God of Fury is my absolute fave. And I think God of War might be like my second favourite, and then God of Wrath after. Because I love Eli. Like I feel like he's so misunderstood. I think he's so up there with like the top MMCs of the series. I loved the book. I wasn't sure where it was going. We have like an amnesia trope. We've got dealing with like mental health, and just the way he is with Ava. Like he's so misunderstood. Like he's very, very cold and a bit nasty, I would say, to start with. But once you actually find out what has happened and why he is the way he is, I'm actually tearing up thinking about it. This book made me cry. When you actually get down to it, why he was acting the way he did and the way he's so protective of Ava, It really is like beautiful scene. I think maybe I'm like a sucker for a tortured soul, I don't know, but he had his reasons, and I know that people like really don't like him, but I just love him so much, guys. I think he's so misunderstood, and of course he was like an asshole, but there's a reason why he did what he did and why he acted the way he acted. Okay, favorite new author, either debut or new to you. There's probably a few on here. First one pops in my head is A.N. Lee. So A and her sister D actually have like an Instagram. I think it's called like the Smart Sisters or something like that. And A is like a feral reader, guys. Like, she reads so much, and they post on a story like every time she finishes a book and stuff, and they get like a lot of arcs, but they don't ever like show their faces or like reveal their names. But A has actually become an author, A.N. Lee now, and she started like her own Instagram like author page for it, and she has started showing her face. And I was lucky enough to get an arc of Rose Tinted, her debut book, and I have also got an arc of Lavender Haze, which comes out in 3 or just under 3 weeks, I think. I haven't read it yet, but it's on my list to read for this week. And I love that book so much. It was a 4.5 star for me. Like, I absolutely ate it up. I just, especially like an indie author as well, guys, like, I'm all about supporting. And that book was so good. It was set in, I think it was Barcelona. We follow Diego and Emma, and they have like a one night stand, and Emma basically ends up being like the guy that is working for Diego like the next day, like helping like with marketing and stuff, and it goes from there. But Diego is like a content king. He is perfection. He's like literally like what you want in a man. That is what he is. Like, he's just such a gentleman, but with a filthy mouth, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I'm going to say Harley LaRue because I have read a few of their books now, and I absolutely love them. I read Her Soulful Revenge to start with, and I think Harley writes predominantly dark romances. I think that is what they like and write. And then I read recently The Dare and the Losers Part 1, which is like a Why Choose, and I devoured that. I think all 3 books that I read of theirs have been 5-star, and so yeah, I know that that's not obviously their debut novels, but that is a new author to me, and I absolutely love them as well. Newest fictional crush. Okay, there's so many, guys. Do you want me to do like the newest or like the highest one? The newest, I would say, obviously I'm reading The Ruthless Boys at the moment, and basically all of the boys from that. Gabriel, Leon, Ryder and Dante. Like, I love all of those, and for all different reasons as well. Leon is like very funny. He's just hilarious. Dante's quite funny as well, and he's also like very caring and like carefree as well. Ryder is like the grumpy one, but he's so protective of her, and Gabriel is just like this cute, protective, just will do anything for her, and I love all of them. Book that made you cry. Okay, the book that's probably made me cry the most is Been God of Fury. I read that at the start of the year, and that, oh my god, even just thinking about it now, like, that book had me sobbing, like sobbing. It was so beautiful, but so sad at the same time. Like, I'm not going to ruin it. It is an MM romance. I did do it on audio. I think the audio is what made it worse, because the embodiment of their emotions was just insane, and I actually will cry, guys. Book that made you happy. Okay, let me have a think. There's so many. Probably like Dear Stetson, I Want You by Indy Valentine. I go on about this book so much, but I just cannot help it. It's an age gap. We've got a billionaire cowboy. We've got dad's best friend. We've got an independent, can hold her own FMC. And I love this book so much. It really made me happy because we've got, the MMC is almost like protective of her, but not like in an overtaking way. He's also such a gentleman. He's yearning for her, like absolutely yearning, and I love that in a book. And he is just perfection, but obviously, like I said, like with a filthy mouth, but he is a gentleman otherwise. And the things that Cov has gone through, Stetson has just like healed that within her, and he's just the perfect person for her. And that book just made me giggle and was just so happy at the end of it. Most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received? Okay, it's the one I'm looking at. Let me grab it, guys. Okay, it's got to be this one, Paisley Hope's one. It is the Bookish and Spice box by like AU, it's like Australia. And this is just stunning. It's pink all the way around. We've got artwork in there as well, which I have shown before in my book haul. And there is some on the back, if you can see. But what I love most is the actual naked hardcover. Obviously, we've got a reversible dust jacket, which of course is pink as well. But then the back of the book, the front of the book, I'm a pink girl. Like, if you know me, I'm just a pink girly through and through. Like, pink is my favourite colour. I love it so much. I don't wear a lot of pink. I wear like probably a lot of like black and dark colours. But to look at and stuff, like this book is just so aesthetically pleasing and probably the prettiest book I own, barring maybe the spines of like the Bridgerton set. I'll try and insert a picture here, but I think this is like probably the prettiest book I actually ever owned, not even like just this year. And finally, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? There is so many, guys. Like, I'm not gonna lie, my TBR is, I think my Goodreads TBR is like 2,500. I'm not even joking. And I'm in the middle of like 60 plus series. I'm not someone, like, unless it's like a fantasy book or like an actual series, I don't really read books back to back. The only ones I did was like the Powerless series, Fourth Wing, Akatar. Those ones I did because I was like, I need to know what happens. But apart from that, I don't tend to read books back to back. I don't know why. But I do have a 26 reads of 2026, which I keep in notes on my phone. So I'll post a picture here. You can see the ones I've got left. I think I've only read like 3 out of it maybe. But I'm going to have to start prioritising. I do have Heated Rivalry on my TBR this month, but I haven't read that yet. And I need to. But I am digressing from my TBR this month because I just am. I'm a mood reader through and through, guys. And like, to be fair, like my TBR for the month is like a more of a hopefuls TBR, like to be hopeful, if that makes sense. Like, hopefully I can read that, but if I don't, it's not like a big deal. Like, I don't want to put that pressure on myself because then that is when you hit a slump, when reading is not fun. But at the moment, I'm really enjoying reading. I'm having a good time. And that's the vibes I want to continue. So I'm going to read The Deal by Elle Kennedy next once I finish Savage Fae. And then I'm going to watch Off Campus because I want to. That is it for the mid-year tag, guys. I absolutely love doing this. I love how, like, reflecting, especially because, like I said, I had my Goodreads up there so I can just see, obviously, what I've read this year for certain books that don't come off the top of my head. And it's crazy to think, like, some books that you just not forget that you've read, but, like, you don't think about sometimes. And then seeing through, it's like, oh, wow, I've actually read a lot of books this year already. And oh my God, like, I remember when I read those and I remember what I was going through when I read that and etc. So it's nice to like reflect on that and actually see. But thank you guys so much for watching and I will catch you in the next one. If there's any specific videos you want to see, let me know.